There can only be one winner, and you're looking at him. Let's go.
Finally, the new ban list is here. Everyone's been waiting for it. I am so happy that the ban list is here. It's been a very long time of Koa'ki Meiru messing up the meta. Here we go. Not only did we get new limited cards, but we also have some skill changes. Now, before I head into this, let me show you what my predictions were of what I talked about on stream and what I think they should have done with a mix of what I think they are going to do. Last week on Wednesday, this was my prediction. It was a mix between what I wanted them to do and what I think they would do. I think we've had Canadia in the meta for way too long. It is the #1 most used played card, but I also, while I wanted them to do it, I did not really expect them to do it because I think in order for them to semi-limit Canadia, they would not only need big balls to do so, but I do think they would need a proper convert system for everyone who has a third Canadia, what they would need to do with it. You know, maybe convert it for a free ultra rare ticket, obtain any card you want because your card was nerfed. That's not fair to you. You invested in the card. Other games like Hearthstone and Shadowverse do this. If they nerf your card, you get your full value back. So maybe Konami is working on a current system, and then maybe we'll see Canadia on the next ban list. I expected Kingdom to be put to 2 and not Samurai Skull because I feel Kingdom would be a better way to truly restrict vampires from playing Econ and True Nade. Now, I guess Anatomy going to 2 was too early of a call. I think this ban list does confirm the reasoning behind that thinking of every deck will eventually have Econ and True Nade and Treacherous be stripped from it. So I guess Karakuri has not been in the meta long enough. Now, I really thought and hoped that they would do something about DNA surgery. DNA surgery to 1, I feel like that needed to happen. Maximus to 1, Iron Core to 2, I called it. And then similar to Karakuri, it is too early to semi-limit an Ancient Gear card, but expect this to happen in the future. Now, I really wanted them to address Kaiba Court Bling. I guess they don't see it as a problem. They don't have trouble sleeping at night knowing that they're making a ton of money off of this skill. I still thought they should have addressed it. Just make it 1100 life to trigger. That would be a proper nerf for that skill. I also wanted them to hit Sealed Tombs. An idea to hit Sealed Tombs was to force you to use it at the start of your main phase, or even better, I think it would have been good to make it only usable after turn 3 or higher. I'm expecting Sealed Tombs to be probably the most popular skill heading into this new meta, and it's sad because we've already seen that happen. They should have been preemptive with it. And then last gamble, what I thought they should have done, I'm writing off an idea I read in my Discord, is that you lose the duel at the end of the turn that you use this skill. If you don't win this turn, you lose. That is a true last gamble. Only use it if you want to gamble your chance to win that turn or not. And then maybe, only because that's a severe nerf, maybe make it usable by turn 3. Now let's look at what we actually received with the ban list. Starting with a trick up the sleeve. I knew that this skill would be nerfed. I did not know how they would do it. I did not think this was the good time to do so, but Blue Eyes is one of the top 3 most played decks on the ladder right now, even though it is not a top tier deck. This is similar to how they nerfed 3-star Demotion and Cyber Style. I think this does confirm that Konami did not intend for people to have Cosmo Brain in their opening hand. They didn't expect it. It was an oversight. So the new nerf is it will still have a Cosmo Brain in your opening hand, but you cannot special summon effect monsters during your first turn. That is a hefty nerf for Blue Eyes. As we all know, opening up with Cosmo Brain is the main way to play that deck. Now, Last Gamble has been nerfed. I am very happy that Last Gamble is nerfed. It is not nice to see it in a tournament win over and over and over again. Last Gamble would be nice if only a few people used it, and it was crazy to see people roll high then win, but no, Last Gamble turned out to be a problem. People were using Last Gamble to pull for their degenerate cards like DNA Surgery or stall cards. And now Lavels are depending on it to pull for their Dust Flame Blast. With Dust Flame Blast, that's how they win duels. They destroy all the cards on the field, and also Last Gamble allowed them to fuel the graveyard with Lavels. Well, no more. You must shuffle 2 cards from your hand into the deck, and you could only use it on turn 7 and onward. You had to use it on turn 5 before. So you no longer get to benefit from having cards cards in the graveyard, and you also reduce your chance to draw into the card that you want due to having to shuffle it into your deck. And then, as I predicted, Koa'ki Meiru. Koa'ki Meiru, Maximus being limited to 1 and Iron Core being semi-limited to 2. Let's look at a Koa'ki Meiru deck and what happens. So we're gonna look at a recent deck posted to the website. Here we go, a normal looking Koa'ki Meiru deck. As you could already see the semi-limit and limit icons onto this deck list, this player would be forced to change their deck by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. I am so happy with this nerf. This is what I wanted for them to do. Maximus was getting way too ridiculous, being able to easily special summon it turn 1, destroy back row. Even if you had a monster and back row, Koa'ki Meiru was too consistently winning duels. You want interaction in Duel Links, and Koa'ki Meiru was anti-interaction. And then especially giving them access to Hate Your Nade was definitely not fair nor fun. Lots of people were not enjoying the game with Koa'ki Meiru being dominant. So what are Koa'ki Meiru decks gonna do after this? Are they dead? Are they done? Is this it for Koa'ki Meiru? I really don't think so. Koa'ki Meiru reminds me of a TCG deck that has so many good cards that we don't even have room to fit them in until a ban list happens. This has happened many times in the TCG where a top tier deck will get nerfed and then will still be top tier. So what are some of those top tier cards? Well, first I'd like to point out that this deck list we're looking at is quite unusual as most are not using core reinforcement. But I do think now that core reinforcement will be a standard add into your deck because it allows you to get multiple uses out of your Koa'ki Meiru Maximus. When you summon Koa'ki Meiru Maximus and it dies, you can now resummon it onto the field with your core reinforcement, and having Maximus is still consistent because of your card Diamond Core of Koa'ki Meiru searching for any Koa'ki Meiru card. An amazing Koa'ki Meiru card that no one has been using is Rook Lord. Rook Lord, when you tribute a Koa'ki Meiru, it only costs 1 Koa'ki Meiru tribute, you get to destroy 2 cards on the field. This is incredible. The deck was just so powerful that they did not even have room for a Rook Lord. That is insane. And to help summon Rook Lord, we have the core reinforcement, which also helps us summon into Maximus. I'm very happy to say that I think Koa'ki Meiru will still be top tier. So for everyone that invested in Diamond Cores and Earn Knights, your deck is still going to be good, but it's going to be a much more healthy deck, more enjoyable to play with and against. And then we have the pesky Spellbooks being hit, Spellbook Eternity being limited to 1. This is right after Spellbook of Fate being semi-limited. I talked about Spellbook of Fate being semi-limited, not really going to have a major impact on Spellbooks, and it didn't. Even though Spellbooks is not really considered a top tier deck, I think it's been around too long. It is a good deck, and it is truly a really anti-fun deck. I think Konami understands that a lot of players do not enjoy playing against Spellbooks, so they just want to further hit the deck. And how they did it was through hitting Spellbook of Eternity. Now, it's worth noting that most players play 2 Spellbook of Eternities, only some played 3. I think mostly no one played only 1, so now you could only play 1. What does this mean for the deck? Well, Spellbook of Eternity is a normal spell. Being a normal spell means that you could easily copy its effect with Spellbook of the Master. In order to copy your Spellbook of Eternity, using Spellbook of Master, you must reveal an additional Spellbook card in your hand, so it does reduce the consistency. You're going to have another Spellbook in order to copy that Eternity from the grave. Eternity is so important for recycling your Spellbook of Fate. Does this kill the deck finally? No, it does not kill the deck. It just further reduces the consistency of Spellbooks to hopefully hinder future Spellbook players from playing the deck. Like I said earlier, I think most of you can agree that this is not a fun deck to play against. As much as I would like to say that Konami just needs to nerf every single deck that is somewhat relevant because it's been in the meta for too long, if that was true, then they would have further hit Heroes because Heroes is more played than Spellbooks on the ladder, yet they did not nerf them. If we quickly look at the KC Cup that just happened, Koa'ki Meiru was most played, followed by Ancient Gears, followed by Heroes, followed by Spellbooks. Spellbooks managed to be more played than Vampires. That's quite surprising. Speaking of Vampires, Vampires got hit with a semi-limit on Samurai Skull. While Samurai Skull is not an exclusive Vampire card, it was only being used in Vampires within the meta. Is this the end of Vampires? No, this is the same thing that they've been doing with other decks. It just simply cuts off access to enemy controller. People are using Kaiba Bling to add enemy controller in their draw phase, and this will now hurt it a little bit. I really think this was just not a good idea. I hope that Konami is not thinking about money when making changes like this, because now, guess what you're gonna have to do when you play vampires? You're now going to have to get your third Gazuki, and that is expensive. So honestly, I'm gonna have to call shame on Konami. I have to call them out for this. This was a very scummy move for vampire players to do this. They could have easily just put Vampire Kingdom to 2. They could have put Vampire Grace to 2. They could have even put Retainer or Familiar to 2, but no, they hit you where it hurts in your wallet. They hit Samurai Skull to 2, so now you're gonna have to up your Gazuki count to 3. Does this really mean that you're not gonna use enemy controller anymore? I actually don't think so. I do expect vampires to still play this, so that's why it would be even more effective if they were to hit Kingdom instead of Samurai Skull. Now, most people focus on Samurai Skull and Gazuki for your turn 1 play, but there is another card that acts just like Gazuki and Samurai Skull to help you set up on your first turn, and that card is Vampire's Desire. It is just like Gazuki and Samurai Skull. You could normal summon Retainer or Familiar and then target it with your Desire, then send any vampire card from your deck to the graveyard. It also has the second effect of allowing you to special summon a vampire from the grave. So we might see 3 Gazuki, 1 Desire, 1 Samurai Skull, and 1 enemy controller. We may even see Samurai Skull being completely cut. Now, if I just focus on Samurai Skull itself, Samurai Skull is known for being better than Gazuki. Gazuki can be used every single turn. It also summons a vampire from your hand. So how could Samurai Skull be seen as better? Well, when everyone's using Kanadia, Kanadia could stop Gazuki, and a lot of people are playing cards that remove your monster off the field, whether sending it to the graveyard or banishing it. Samurai Skull has been a great card to counter cards like that. The most recent addition to the meta is Survival's End, destroying monsters in back row. If you destroy a Samurai Skull with your Survival End, it will summon a Gazuki from the deck. So this does hurt the power level of vampires a bit just because it was directly hitting a Samurai Skull. So overall, what do I think about the ban list? I am very happy about it. I think they were a little too safe with it. I think they could have done more, as you could see from the example of the ban list I provided. I am so damn happy that Koa'ki Meiru will be knocked down from being the best deck in Duel Links. It has been an extremely oppressive deck. Being able to easily protect your monsters from being destroyed and then being able to easily OTK through any situation. This is going to allow a lot of decks to rise up, and that's what I want. I want to see more diversity. So now you could whip out your rogue decks. Some other deck types may pop up in the meta. I'm very excited to see what does well after Koa'ki Meiru Maximus will now be played at 1. When ban lists are announced, it makes me very excited to be running the Duel Links meta community because I implement the ban lists early on my stream and all of my events. I cannot wait to see what does well. I hope to see you all this Saturday, March 16th at 1 p.m. EST as the top players around the world play with the new box, new ban list for thousands of dollars. It's going to be epic. Also, consider for yourself joining the events yourself. Meta Weekly is every single week. We have giveaway tournaments every single month. The next Meta Weekly this Tuesday. I am very excited to see what the ban list will do. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Dkayed Brigade out.